Let's get into it. Let's really get into what we were lucky enough to steal some of your time for the day, and talk about how Microsoft Teams, in particular, how the voice solutions can add a lot of value to your existing practice. For many, if not all of you here, we're already Sherweb partners, so we get to work together largely around the Microsoft space here. Good news is that this is not very different from what it is you're currently doing. Better news that we can help to support you as we look to do throughout the space with a tailored offer that we have just for our partners. So who is this hilarious guy? My name is James. I'm a product sales manager for modern work and collaboration here at Sherweb. That is a really fancy, long title, by the way, a really fancy way of saying I get to help you build revenue, build practices, close deals. I am in a sales role. There is no secret to what I do. We need numbers. We want numbers. We want to help you get the numbers, and not just to get them in a rushed way or to cut any type of corners, but offer the value that comes with it. We used to have this term of this kind of trusted consultant. Please refer to me and the rest of the Sherweb team here as that. We are here to support you in whatever form that takes. Assuming we have those practices or capabilities in house, which often we do have. Minor notes here as well. Usually we have a little housekeeping slide. That was completely my omission. These slides will be shared generally about a week after this session here today. This session is being recorded as well, so you'll be able to refer back to it and kind of freeze frame and dig into any of the content we share. There are links that we'll share with resources throughout the deck as well. These two will be available. I am flying solo today. There's only this one guy's face on the screen here. So if you have any questions, you have thoughts, challenges, like by all means, right? Steel sharpens steel. So feel free to throw those into the chat. We do have a jam-packed session. My goal and our collective ambition here is to answer all of them as we go through. Whatever is outstanding at the end of the session, I will reach out to you. I'll say personally, but either myself or a member of our modern work team. We'll get back to you, honestly, as quickly as we can. Probably by end of week would be a pretty fair bet there. Boom. So this is what we're looking at for the next 50, 45 minutes or so here. We're going to be looking at the market potential of voice solutions. Again, we're all cognizant we're in that space, but just some of the numbers there. And we work with Microsoft. They love stats. So we're going to share some of my favorites with you and just a little bit of the lay of the land. Why Microsoft is a great bet when we say Microsoft-centric voice and calling solutions. It is a crucial part of the information worker landscape, of the SMB landscape in particular, and enterprise definitely as well. Why Teams is such a great bet, not only from a productivity standpoint from an end user, but for you as MSPs, right? Again, just understanding our audience a little bit and just kind of dreaming of your success. Well, what are some ways we can make this more applicable for you and help to light that path, if you will? We only have an hour here today, so it is not exhaustive. There are not a million scenarios, although do reach out. A million's probably a stretch, but do reach out and we'll help to share some of our insights, some of our experiences from some of my very immediate colleagues who have run and managed MSPs very recently, to myself and the telco adjacent team here at Sherweb, from our telco experience as well. So why does this make sense really is what we'll hint at there. And then finally, how we get to be a part of your success, or how we'd like to be, some of the options available to you in a nutshell. Maybe even a special offer. Who knows? We'll see if I keep your attention. At the end, we have some pretty cool news to share. Diving right in, the voice market opportunity, right? So again, it's using the tools at our disposal to help to inspire, to help our customers be more efficient, be more productive, and more secure. Again, a really big value that you in particular will get to bring to your customer base. To do that, and as we paint that path, or we light that road, we'll start always by looking at our customer first and what is the reality. We say customers, it could be your reality. I know to a certain extent, even on this slide here, it's our collective reality, right? So you can't keep up. Welcome to the professional world. There is so much data coming at us. There is so much to do in a day, and there are requests that can go from Azure to Dynamics to backup and everything in between. There's a lot to do. So now if we can start to remove some of these barriers and start to address some of these inefficiencies, again, Microsoft Teams could very well be the tool that our partners or our customers just aren't leveraging to the utmost extent. But we can help them get out of that 68% block where there's so much to do, and I could do 12 hours and I would have 12 more hours to do if the wife would let. It's again, I think this is a norm. I won't speak to everything here, but just jumping between tools. If we think of just that, if we go back to the pre-pandemic days, where we had, let's say, a Slack for our chat and then our Zoom for our meetings, which are getting bombed. That's a story for another day. And then our file sharing in another medium and in Dropbox and all this. Well, where did I put that and where it was? So we're losing the information. We're wasting time by jumping in between these. And this, again, this is just some of the key value of Microsoft Teams. I know everyone here is leveraging Microsoft Teams, right? Because we're all in it. I observe. But we get to double down on this. And again, this will be the focal point. This will be the central part of our productivity practice, collaboration tool. And then we can look at how we can double down, one, and always in the forefront here, adding value to our customers' day. And then two, building our business, right? Like it's good to be selfish a little bit here. Eyes on the prize and having a good moral compass and all. But how can we help? And once I can help, well, what does this mean, right? We have to think this way. And again, Teams is a great tool. And I like to think that we're great partners to go about this with you. All right, so just some of the staples and some of the ways that Microsoft gets the help, right? It's productivity tools. It is file sharing seamlessly and securely. Very importantly, richer engagements. If we think of having meetings, but just having the emojis, right? I told my amazing joke earlier. I saw some laughing faces pop up. Great, right? I'm connected as much as I am here monologuing. There's an engagement aspect that if you've surely been on this side of the screen, it means a lot and it really goes a long way. So let's get those hearts going. No, I'm just kidding, but that interaction is really just going to keep us human as we are more dispersed than we've been. We're all located in very different places across the continent here. So flexible workspaces for this crowd. I don't think I have to bend your ear too much. And the advanced protection, you'll see we're gonna make special note of this today. If there was one thing that we can do in the Microsoft space for what concerns calling, collaboration, efficiency, and productivity, the protection and the security is something that for years, both us and Microsoft and I'm sure yourselves have been saying security first. Well, we can actually double down. This was some of the features available, whether that be through the Microsoft suite as a whole or Microsoft Teams Premium as a really, really interesting value prop there. But don't take my word for it. Take these incredible stats provided directly from Microsoft that are extremely flattering here. If we look at the growth, right? So it's not just what we're seeing and what we've had to go through in the past few years, but holistically across the market worldwide, we are seeing this incredible, honestly, it's very incredible uptick, whether that be around the number of monthly active users of Microsoft Teams. That's no small number. That's near the U.S. population. Then we start to look at how many organizations are leveraging some of the advanced features of Teams Premium, which we'll touch on a few as we go through today. And then finally, and my favorite one on here, how many Teams Phone users are enabled? And that 20M, that M is for millions. That's a lot of, I was going to say happy. We're all working here as nice as we are, but these are 20 satisfied business consumers leveraging this technology, right? So it's not a one-off. It is not a fluke. This growth, I think, from 3 years ago or 2 years ago was 16 million. So we're not yet at the peak of that curve. We're slowly encroaching, I'd imagine, to certain extents. But as we keep climbing up market in terms of the adoption, and when I say we, in terms of Microsoft Teams, well, we're going to see more and more features get put out that'll help us to compete with some of the real enterprise incumbents in the industry. And again, slowly but surely and piece by piece, we are definitely chipping away at that gap. There's a lot more functionality within Microsoft Teams than many might be aware of. With that being said, and this is really a revenue and just little tips and tricks we're going to try and share today. We do have a quick poll we'll put up here now. And the poll will read as follows. Do you currently sell calling services? Right, really simple. This is just for us to get a little bit of a feel, make sure no one fell asleep just 13 minutes in here. But again, your feedback, it goes such a long way, right? So like any business, we're going to evaluate our resources, and we want to, personally, I would do a team session a week if the bandwidth and if the appetite was there. So do please reply here. We'd love to see where you are. We do have one more poll coming up later. And again, we'd love to get your feedback, and that's going to help guide us as we are looking to offer additional services to help support these ventures. Super cool. It's a cool crowd. I'm not sure if you can see the stats. I do believe you can, but we are at 81% of you who say, yes, you do currently sell calling services. Really, really cool, because we're going to spend the whole time talking about auto attendance. Just kidding. No, I'm joking. But it's really good that you're in this space. It's really good that you have that awareness. You obviously see the potential here, and hopefully we can inspire a few new ideas, a few new ways to go about this as we go through. And that actually was, quite honestly, it was a lot higher than what I was expecting. And it worked out really well, because we don't get too deep into the phone calling functionality, but really why Microsoft and Microsoft-centric voice solutions are the solution or the way forward here. Cool. So Teams Phone really is in the flow of work, right? It's a central hub for collaboration and for communication. And we can do all the things, right? All the things that we're used to. We start to think of the meetings, right? This is what we're in right now, albeit a curated one, thanks to some of the security controls and features. If we think of webinars or town halls as value within here. Well, this is the same tool, right? From which we'll get to collaborate, share files with each other, again, securely, co-author documents. We can leverage agents if you're lucky enough to have your Copilot license. And even get into applications automation and send really inappropriate gifts to each other, IT policies permitting. All right, so this is at the hub. This is at the core. This is what workers do. It isn't just you. I don't believe it to be just us. This is really a full cycle way where you can reach out, you can communicate, and again, for the say the 15th time here, collaborate with your team. 3 key values we're going to look at. And again, this is just more on the customer conversations, that flexibility, that ease of use. Last thing we want is it's cutover day. We're looking to switch from one solution provider, whether that be through chatting or file sharing or calling, and going into a new. Well, those opening day jitters are a real thing for the 81% of you who are involved in a calling experience or solution selling to some extent. That cutover day is deer in the headlights. People forget how to use Teams they've been using forever, or how do I transfer a call again? Oh my gosh. These are real sentiments. So let's keep them in their flow of work. Let's keep them comfortable. Let's reduce that so-called barrier, that learning curve as much as possible. When we start to look at the intelligence, again, we'll touch on that briefly here, and how connected and how easy it is to work, whether that be with your internal team, with external partners, with customers. but there really is a lot of value we can bring as some of the lesser known features that are maybe quite industry specific, but there's a lot of value we can bring. And again, we only got an hour here today, so it's kind of a speed round, but I will dive into any of this, as will the modern work team here at Sherweb. We love this stuff. Honestly, we're big nerds. But there's a lot of ideas, and we get to share ideas and brainstorm. It's a wonderful thing, in my opinion. And again, I touched on it earlier, and I'll touch on it again, and I'll say it again because security is something that we absolutely have an advantage when we compare ourselves to the traditional telco. And again, we'll dive into that as we go through. So flexible, easy to use. We'll start here. I was talking about that cutover experience, and it's day one, and oh my gosh, how do I do X, Y, or Z again? Well, there's not as much of a need, right? The calling experience, for those of you who have had a chance to dabble in the Microsoft Teams solutions here, the calling experience is quite intuitive. You want to place a call, you can transfer your calls, access your voicemail, your call history, delegate calls to your colleagues, and on and on. And all of this from a very familiar experience. So if you're on your mobile, if you're on your tablet, if you're on your PC, on your Mac, this all becomes available, right up to web GUIs as well, depending on the work or shared station arrangement your customers might find themselves in. So really, really familiar. Again, no needing a PhD to navigate a phone here. Just read the screen quite often. It's right in front of us here again. So let's keep it as easy, as simple as possible. I touched on some of the lesser known features and values within Microsoft Teams. Virtual appointments is absolutely one. Again, this is maybe a little bit more industry specific, but being able to set up secure appointments, which you can have reminders. And again, we can start to leverage SMS functionalities in this one. Where you can have a calendar, you can see the metrics to see who had joined and where. But if we think of our dentist customers, are often anywhere in the medical field, whether that be maybe for mental health, right, which is also so important. These gray, dreary time of the year, like where I'm located. Well, we can start to do all this remotely and again securely. Right in the tool that we use to chat with our colleagues, to share our files, to have our meetings, to do our presentations. But all of this in a single tool. Again, we're not jumping everywhere to get this done. I brought in a not so dear friend, but a really smart sounding guy here from this video here. So I'll let this roll for a few seconds. I did, didn't I? Yeah. Oh, there you go. I was like, I shared it without sound. No, I think
Virtual appointments provides a business-to-consumer engagement that makes meetings with customers as easy and personalized as if you were there together in person. You can set up and manage scheduled and on-demand appointments with advanced capabilities like appointment queuing and pre-appointment chat capabilities. Attendees will receive a text message confirming and reminding them of the scheduled appointment. Once it's time for the appointment, your attendee can join the virtual appointment from a mobile browser without needing to download the Teams app. They are directed to a custom lobby room with your organization's logo and branding until the facilitator is ready to start the meeting. After the appointment, clients receive a follow-up survey for feedback. And you can check analytics that help you measure the business value of the virtual appointments and improve customer outcomes, like reducing no-show and wait times.
Right. So this is something that's built in, right? So this is a Microsoft Teams feature. So I say built in. There's a slight add-on license here required. But within that same tool, we now have access to this capabilities. Here I am with my medical focused appointments here. But if you think of the banking example here, right? Another really good one. Also, there are Microsoft success stories available. So whenever you're looking for inspiration, you can definitely leverage some of those to draw parallels to your customers' own businesses. So leveraging the resources there, knowing that these tools exist. Again, just more ammo for you and for your sellers to go forward.
Virtual appointment.
We just did that. So that was around the ease of use. And then we get into the intelligence, right? And again, these are modern times. If you've had a chance to witness any of our events in the last year, many of them, if not all of them, included some component or some notion of AI. Well, similarly here, if we start to look at Microsoft Teams Premium in particular, there is a feature that does give you an intelligent recap or a summary of the meeting that just occurred. So similar to Copilot, and I'll touch on that in just a second here. But the ability to have, again, a Cole's notes, what were the main discussion points, what were the main tasks coming out of a meeting. Well, this is available to you with just a Microsoft Teams Premium license. So it is an add-on, I believe. The pricing is being updated in February, but it's somewhere around $15 a user in Canada. But this will give you that AI in-meeting assistant, again, securely within Microsoft Teams. The nuance, and if we start to add Copilot on top of that, well, with one, you'll get the intelligent recap, which Copilot certainly can offer. With Copilot, however, where the extra beauty is, notwithstanding the ability to have it within all of your apps and to create agents and the like. We have many webinars. We'll go in greater detail on that. But here you can actually see the transcript, the recap, again, summarized with your notes. And then with Copilot, you can actually interact. So now you can actually start to question the data. Hey, that task, was that assigned? Who assigned me that task? How sneaky of them? But you can go back and actually interact with that data, is where Copilot becomes really interesting. And then if we think of it now from a customer standpoint, right? So this isn't just in the meetings that many of us have become accustomed to, but now we're doing this with our regular inbound customer-facing calls. Well, we can now have that same transcript. Hey, did I miss any buying signals here? Review my week and tell me where I could have, I had opportunities to close, where I perhaps left something on the table. What should I have done, or how could I have better addressed this objection? These are all things that we can learn from and benefit from with Microsoft Copilot for 365.
With Copilot and Teams.
All these videos here, my apologies. Again, and here we'll get into a little bit of the telco stuff. I promise this is just about as much as we have here. But when we think of Teams, and if you're like me coming in maybe 6 years ago, and had obviously some exposure with Skype for Business in the day, it was, yeah, well, it can do these things, but yeah, maybe one day I'll really get behind and really believe it. Well, that time has arrived, and we're seeing it by the stats we presented earlier, but everything from auto attendance to call queues, to sending calls into channels. So essentially having a team answering capability to be able to opt out of the queue if ever you're assigned to a different project or task. This is all realities. Those typical telco features are here. They're in Teams. So now, again, it's within our court, right? This used to be those telco guys will do it, and that's a realm I'm not getting into. But now it really is the same realm, right? We work side by side, telco, MSP. It's all converging. So again, you being in this space, you having the leg up for what concerns the security and customer experience, productivity as a whole. Well, now voice is now part of that productivity bucket. And again, we're seeing some really great adoption right across the channel, and particularly with our resellers who are quite honestly and who are quite honestly very security minded and experience oriented. Another cool feature. If you were like me and say, yeah, well, Microsoft Teams, this is James 6 years ago, not current state James. James 6 years ago says, yeah, Microsoft Teams, great SMB solution, as long as you don't need too much. Microsoft Teams it's a good solution. Nothing wrong with it. Again, with some of the advances they made around even the ability to have users, delegated user manage individual hunt groups or auto attendants. These are big advancements. One of the more recent advancements is seen on the screen here with the Microsoft Queues app. So here you can actually get some telemetry from your, or some statistics, either way, from your phone system. So now you can see how many calls are on hold or waiting in a particular queue. What's the abandon rate, right? So we have this kind of call center functionality, this advanced telco functionality built right within Microsoft Teams. Again, a little asterisk here. A Teams Premium license is required for those looking to access this dashboard, and even to leverage some of the features like Whisper or Call Takeover if you really see it not going ideally. But even just the ability to monitor to ensure that your business and your team is operating in the way your norms would have them do. We have all this visibility now. Again, Teams is no longer just an SMB phone system. And once you get to 30 people, maybe look elsewhere. Teams is really making that push, or Microsoft more so is making that push to really move up market. And these are the type of features that we now have access to that will start to set us apart more and more.
As customers.
Again, we'll share the deck so you can watch these super real videos here. They're about 1.5 minutes. But again, it's a title of inspiration. It's just to have ideas in terms of how Microsoft Teams can be applicable to various businesses, various contexts as well. This here, and I'll even pause for dramatic effect. This is where the Sherweb partners, where the Microsoft-centric partners will start to stand out and differentiate themselves when compared to the insert incumbent telco here against those practices. Those traditional telcos definitely offer some value, and they have a history of success to varying degrees. But now we are seeing this security notion becoming prevalent, and users are actually starting to catch on that, hey, maybe this is a risk, and maybe even me as a 10-person SMB can be affected, and maybe even more likely in some cases. So we can start to stand out again. We've been having that security conversation. Let's just bring that over the fence into the telco world. That same conversation needs to be applicable across the board, right? A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So how do we lock all the doors and leave the window open? Well, this is Microsoft's response. And again, within the Microsoft suite, well, this is us closing that proverbial window here. We can start to leverage, and hopefully many of you are leveraging at least sensitivity labels, some form of identity governance and device governance as well. But let's say if we look at sensitivity labels, for example, well, we can actually start to have these built-in DLP policies right within our meetings. Now we can start to say, hey, after the meeting, let's say we're discussing a new product launch, as we're constantly doing here internally at Sherweb. Well, we could have one of these meetings, and then we can actually have a DLP policy come and cover or remove the transcript more so, making it inaccessible. So if ever I'm like, hey, what did we discuss in that super secret product launch meeting I just had? Well, that will no longer be available to my Copilot, so I'm able to summarize all the cool stuff I'm working on, or I would, but it would omit the parts that were deemed sensitive or highly sensitive, confidential, whatever your label naming convention would be. It's really cool features. Much shorter video, but the notion remains: security is here, and we can actually have this flow right from our files to our meetings as well. And right up to creating policies across the organization to say, hey, anytime we're having a customer call versus an internal support discussion, we can have different security controls, things like watermarking, encryption, DLP policies, as I mentioned, all stay true to our security posture. And this is the video for it. Again, we'll share this over in just a moment. And here is just how we can go about, again, tagging those meetings, tagging these webinars even. And you'll notice it even in the ability to chat. There are also security controls, or if we had shared collateral into the chat, we can actually prevent that collateral from being pulled from anyone, let's say, who's not internal to the Sherweb team. Right? So these are all controls that we can implement. So it's not just chatting securely, it isn't just file sharing securely, but it is meeting, it is calling securely, it is having town halls, making product announcements, again, all of it done securely. So really, really cool value. We could easily do a full hour on Teams Premium. Honestly, there's a lot of value. We highlight the intelligent recap. The watermark is what we see on the screen here. So this is, if I were to screenshot at a town hall some sensitive information, well, that's my name, Adi Kapoor in this case. That would be my name here. So as this found its way online somewhere, inevitably, well, they would say, hey, I wonder who did that. And it was Adi Kapoor. This guy is now looking for a job and blemishes on my CV and the like. So accountability, otherwise said, and again, this is just the tip of the iceberg when we start to look at Teams Premium, and holistically, really within the Teams space, just a few of the features available to us. All right, end-to-end encryption. It really is that wonderful. So on a one-to-one, and then we can even get into up to 50 people have encryption in a meeting. Again, leveraging Teams Premium, but this means secure videos with even less chance of malicious actors potentially getting access to that information. Well, so far, let me do a quick pause. Is there anything fun in the chat? Hey, I think this call is being recorded and remaining on the line. We get it. We get it. We get it. Apollo recorder. We get it. Read AI. Great. So no real chats, just bots chatting. What a time to be alive. Awesome. Let's keep going. And this is ultimately where we wanted to spend most of our time here with you today. It is just a quick reminder, and we'll tell you just in a few ways how we stand out. But you with Microsoft Teams are greater than the big guys, right? Than some of those AT&Ts or Shaws. I wasn't going to name drop, but we're coming for some of your business here. Play nice. We can offer more value, more service. And again, across the space, it isn't singularly, well, let me do your phone system or let me do your, if you think of other industries here, so I'm not coming into the alarm. I'm doing the alarm. I'm doing your phone. I'm doing the cameras. I'm doing door access, right? I'm doing your security systems, your fire panel. Like, it's not just one thing we're going after here. Much like for many of you, it isn't just the productivity that's in scope. It is their productivity. It is the efficiency. It is applications. It is their infrastructure. It is their devices, right? We want to land. We want to expand. We want to get into their space. And again, we offer many more tools than these, not to say one-trick ponies, but that's the word that comes to mind right now. We are a lot more versatile. We have a lot more value to present, and in just a few ways, right? So if we start to think of, again, zooming out to the basics here, we offer Outlook, right? Email, as much as we love to hate it, it is a tool that is used by businesses worldwide for every aspect of many businesses. So that is your space. If we start to zoom out a touch from that, well, now we say that's collaboration. Again, Microsoft Teams can do that. We can communicate. As I was doing earlier, I can just chat with some of our colleagues who are Microsoft logoed or work at Microsoft. We can just chat with them through my Microsoft Teams Sherweb tenant here. And I can file share and we collaborate on documents and such, all very, very easy, right? So that collaboration is in one. Similarly for Loop, we think of Planner in terms of a project management tool. And then we get into the data, right? Of the OneDrive, the SharePoint, the Excel, your Power BI, Dynamics, so that's helping us to surface information as well. But this is all one space. This is a space that these telco giants don't have their footing in. Many of you have seen some of their offers starting in the last couple of years here, as they're kind of seeing the way the winds are going. But this is a leg up that you have, that we have collectively. We can support you with many or most of the solutions here, at least from a how-to, and here's where we can learn more together. But this is all one space. For those of you who maybe aren't maybe as vocal, maybe you haven't brought it up with your account manager, but if you run into an account or a potential customer where they have an ERP, and this isn't your bread and butter, this isn't your specialty, well, by all means, again, reach out. We can help support that. We have a great partner-to-partner network. We can connect you with someone who does, right? So this is all the space that you're in. We want to help you to stop saying no to deals or this is outside of my field of expertise. We'll connect you with experts. Again, these are going to be our partners, people that we can speak to the validity of their business and their reasonable business operations. But essentially, we'll connect you to, and you too will make your plan. But stop saying no. Leveraging all of these tools, including Copilot with our Copilot offers that we have available via our professional services. Again, reach out. We'll share any and all of this as needed. But all this to say, as much as these are all disjointed apps, and you might have been like, James, where are you going with that? They're all over. All of them rely upon or are in some way very, very close to Microsoft Teams. And that really is the center point of productivity in the Microsoft space. So leverage it. Again, this is our advantage. This is our leg up here, our head start. Let's double down on that. Let's show off our expertise around PowerPoint or Copilot and Excel. And turn that into a productivity. Hey, well, not only will you have information, surfaced by using Copilot and Excel, for example, but I can actually communicate that securely, whether you're sharing the file in SharePoint or calling or having a confidentially tagged meeting in Microsoft Teams. Again, it's all one space. We're masters of it. We collectively, to you in the crowd. The other guys are not. Again, let's lean into this. Let us know how we can help support that discussion. But this is one that we need to have, is we're going to win those discussions every time. Then we get into the crux of it, and this is really where it's going to start to stand out. And you'll see we have some pretty cool stuff coming over the next few months here around Microsoft security. But some of the pillars here, if we think of just Entra, something like conditional access. Hey, James's phone is now suddenly in a less desirable country at 3 a.m. Blasting out calls. Does that make sense? Who is this? Why is James calling every one of our customers at 2:45 in the morning? Seems a little bit strange. Well, we can start to set some of these controls in place, again, via conditional access, available in Business Premium, among other suites and even add-ons. But again, these are things that the telcos don't offer. It is, hey, take this really cool mobile app that's probably not nearly as efficient as Microsoft Teams, or not as multifaceted at the minimum, and go and make all the calls. And here's your full company contact list. They're right here. Great. That employee loses that phone at an airport. Well, then what? Those guys, so what? They deactivate the extension. What is it? They're going to change the login credentials, potentially deactivate the app when they find out. Here we can have it done. There's someone who needs to find out. The conditional access mechanism will just lock that door as soon as something less than ideal has been deemed. So again, we don't need to be involved here. We have that security baked in via Microsoft Entra. Similarly, for device policies, do we want jailbroken devices? Do we want devices, again, that haven't been updated in years? Well, are these things that we want to have our business communication, our business information on? Probably and hopefully not. Again, we can chat with you on how to go about that conversation, some of the availability of these features, and how to go about enacting those controls. But again, this is really within the scope of what you do. This is me preaching to the choir, I'd imagine by now. This is standout stuff. This is stuff that sets us very, very far apart from the other, again, those unilateral industries or those major telcos. I do phones. Like, that's really cool. Do you do devices? Do you do email security? What about data governance? Do you even know what that means? Right? These are all things, again, we have a very, very big leg up on. So we will be doing a lot more around security in the next couple weeks and probably about 2.5 months here coming up. And then finally, later on in the year, we're going to be looking at Microsoft Purview. So again, more around data governance. This is all coming up really, really soon. In the meantime, reach out if you have questions, you want to dig in and know more. We'll gladly share some resources and even some of our time to help you understand the opportunity that means for you, one, and then two, and again, always equally or as important or maybe even more important, what this means for your customer and why this is the right time to have it. And I understand there's multiple streams of conversation here. But again, we can pick our avenue. You can build your own company's roadmap in terms of a trajectory for a business plan here. But these are all facets we can offer under the same umbrella. Again, very, very hard to compete when someone can go from end to end in a business versus point solutions offering zero responsibility around anything other than the one thing that leads them to be successful to varying degrees. More of what I was saying there: conditional access, zero touch enrollment. If we think of autopilot, inventory management is all things we can do to the endpoint portals as well. So all of this can be done. You can set up templates for much of this as well. Where do yourselves, we have our Office Protect product. We also have Nerdio and some other tools that we can look at helping or scaling these types of deployments. Lighthouse, Microsoft Lighthouse, another really, really cool feature that Microsoft has available to MSPs. Here too, in March, we'll be having a session or two around that. So keep your eyes peeled for those invites coming through. Again, I'll take a little pause there. There's a lot. I'm not trying to inundate. They give me 40. They give us an hour to get of your time. Here's we understand how busy you all are. So again, it's not lost on us, and thank you all for taking the time. I wish there was a full day, and we're working on a few things here. But we're just trying to give you the Coles notes here, and hopefully some of it piques your curiosity, and you'll reach out or you'll go and dig. And we'll be sharing some resources to most of what we covered today as well. All this to say, you are uniquely placed as a full tiered service provider, really from device procurement to AI and business automation and everything in between. Teams calling is no different at all. So when we start to think of, hey, how do we get the rubber to meet the road here? Well, this is how it could potentially spin off for you. And maybe you have different variations. Again, this is one way, by no means the Bible here, but inspiration, if nothing more. And often, if we think of how typical customers or even MSPs are offering the services here, it is often, hey, well, did you know you can have a very secure communication channel? If we think of chat and we think of file sharing, and just try this Microsoft Teams thing. It's pretty cool. It's built into your cloud apps, your PowerPoints, et cetera, that we're all used to. And that's often the starting point, and with good reason. Right? We think of just the good old-fashioned adoption, just migrating from other point solutions to move into a hub, really a central point for teamwork. Right in through the next phase is, well, cool, now you're chatting, you're file sharing, and you're collaborating internally and more efficiently than ever before. Why are you still using that other solution to have meetings? One that was compromised so many times in the news so many years ago. Why are you still doing these crazy things? Did you know with Microsoft Teams, we can actually play controls to force everyone to go into a lobby before being admitted? Right, we can get away from some of these risks that might have been there, some of these less than ideal experiences. Let's get into that. Are we looking at devices? Do you have rooms? Do you have a return to work mandate that you're eyeing for your team? Great. What does that look like? Can we keep this experience as familiar as it was at home with that comfort, that level of kind of casualness between team members? Well, let's get the right devices in place to help you get there, right? These are all things that are probably second nature for many of you. And it's by no coincidence here that we're seeing the sliding scale of dollars here. The adoption was certainly a way through. Probably the professional services was more attractive to you as an MSP at this stage. Getting into the meeting services, maybe we're looking at enablement, device procurement, right? And then we get into the third pillar here, when we get into calling, and this is really now that next level. Now it is all the adoption and change management and devices, the device procurement and professional services that go around setting up and consulting and understanding their phone system and giving them the best value there. But we really, again, we'll start to see that That attach rate, I think it's closer to $18 if memory serves, was the monthly recurring revenue attach rate when we're looking at calling services. Then professional services, generally another 10 to 15 above that. Right. So if we're looking at a 60-70% increase in revenue by adding this service, by displacing a soon-to-be competitor, right? All these telcos are slowly coming into the MSP space, so we can help to protect our patch. We can water our grass, so to speak, by offering the services and the value in the moment. And really, again, we can even think of it as planting seeds for what the consultative value you can bring there is, hey, is that the right way to go about your phone system? Wouldn't it be more efficient if out of your 7 branches, you had a central reception station, virtual? It could be the same 7 receptionists, but now maybe 3 of them can work on other tasks. Let's be more efficient, more mindful with our dollar. It sounds a little bit off base here, but it really is part of that consultative efficiency gaining. It's going to help them to stay around long term and help you to grow and to be that steward, if you will, for the new age. Gosh, I hear myself too sometimes, you guys. I hear it too. I'm really sorry for saying stuff like that. But lots of value. Ultimately, I won't drain these slides. I won't go too deep into them here, but you'll see that the same core pillars will apply, whether that be through Microsoft Teams here, through Copilot, through your security practice, your dynamics practice, what have you. We're going to see the same or often these large categories here in terms of what's the vision? Where are we going with all this? Are we ready to get there? Here's how we get there via the enablement. Here's what we're seeing from actual usage and adoption. Here's some tips, some tricks, some training we can use to help everyone see the full value here. And finally, the support that you'll get to offer, whether that be in the security monitoring, getting into the advanced webinars and setting up some very specific meeting controls and custom backgrounds and templates and the like. But you get to go end to end, whether that be through the meeting services. Similarly, if we get into rooms, super lucrative part of the industry as well for the uninformed. Those room devices are not being given away. Having a good conference room or a good meeting area is a sign of prestige. It is a marketing tool as well as an efficiency tool to help people feel together. We can think of together mode. We can think of front row, where you can actually align the screens to be more or less desk level, right? So we can get this real nice experience there. Slightly outside of our traditional MSP playground, but adjacent, right? It is still our ground that is touching the network, which hopefully or potentially you're managing, right? So this is all connected on the same security controls. We want to have it go right through. And again, there's no one better placed than you folks and than our MSP partners to deliver from chat to call. Again, the same principles align here all the way through. And there's tons. I'm looking at this sign and it's like the Matrix to me, and I'm just seeing dollar signs pop up on most of the lines here. And some of them have $1, some of them have $4 signs. So there is a lot of potential here. Again, for the revenue potential long term. This is the place we want to be. No chats, no AI bots spamming the chat. I think we're okay. So just as I become cognizant of the time here, is I love what I get to do. We'll start to wrap up here. And this is just kind of a mini roadmap, as it were, in terms of, well, how do I know which solution when I look at Microsoft Teams? I've heard of a few things. I've heard of Operator Connect. I've heard of direct routing, whatever that means, and calling plans. But how do I know which one? So I'll start off right off the bat here for any of the licensing questions, how-tos, next steps. Do reach out. We have a pretty proficient team when it comes to all things Microsoft, very honestly. But we'll share some of our guidance or expertise and even leverage Microsoft if needed for any of these conversations. At a high level, though, we're looking at either the Microsoft Teams calling plan, so it's the native solution through Microsoft themselves, where they are your entire provider. It is quick. It is easy as it is in the eye of the beholder here. So I won't speak too heavily to that. but it is available largely worldwide. So if you do have remote workers, there are some different ways that Microsoft can help support there. Another option, and our completely unbiased preference here, is around direct routing. Well, here we actually get to get a little bit more granular. So now we can start to incorporate whether that be phone system functionality that's not included in Microsoft Teams. We start to think of analog adapters like for elevators, overhead paging, door phones. We start to think of faxing. We start to think of SMS. These are some values that aren't currently available in Microsoft Teams, whereas a direct routing provider, rather, may be able to assist. And you're in luck, folks. Wait for it. There you go. We happen to be one of these direct routing providers. So what this means, that essentially we get to offer all that's available in Microsoft Teams, the call queues, the music on hold, caller ID, voicemail to email, and all the fun there. But then we can actually kick it up a level and get into call recording. We can get into some SIP device compatibility, namely with those door phones. We could think of the SMS. We can think of fax to email or email to fax, or leveraging their fax machine because old habits die hard, or giving the industry, as I make fun here. But we can start to offer a little bit more value. Not only that, and then this is really where this offer is what I deem to be unique, and what we really focus on when creating this offer. It really was, well, what is this doing for our partners? Simple question here, or simple answer rather, is if we consider a typical 1 year of investment for a 30 user environment, by the time you go through and set it all up and you take the support questions and you do that enablement, and then you have to make the updates and change this, and Sally's away next week and I update that. We start to look at the time spent, and we came up with a rough number of 23 hours. Rough would have been 25, but okay, let's say about 23 hours in terms of your investment as an MSP versus our solution, in which case you get to offload much of that process, right? So anything in terms of the configuration of the phone system itself, that's an instant offload. That's a forward to Sherweb. Our team will gladly and professionally jump through those hoops for you, circle back to you, give you the good news, and you'll get to go revert back to your customer at the end, right? So we're looking to substantially reduce your time investment there, while making it attractive, while making it worth your while. So there certainly are some kickbacks from Microsoft. We think of their backend incentives through the MAICPP, or Cloud Incentive Partner Program. Whereas we like to just be a little bit more upfront, a little less hoops here. We can reach up to 40% in certain deployments. Traditionally, I'd say it's probably closer to a 25 to 35% discount in many of the environments we've had a chance to be a part of. So fair earnings, reduced time investment, right? If we think back to the side at the top of just we're in too many places and there's too much happening, that we're always, 68% of us feel like we're falling behind at times. But we can start to address that while increasing your profitability, letting you put out more lucrative fires, and invest your time towards your specialty more so. Well, so it really is that it's a UC play that we're offering. It'll offer more value to you as a partner, again, freeing up your time, your resources to tackle different or multiple projects. And then again, the customer value on this side is really, they're familiar with Microsoft Teams, you're familiar with it as well. So the learning curve is minimal. And then we get to be a part of that success, right? So we have our telco team. I think we're getting closer to 20 staff, telco dedicated, just from a support. Never mind the sales and marketing and all the front end folks like myself. But really expertise. I know a few of the guys there have been in the industry for well over 20 years, and even some of the girls, as we're pretty equal in what we do. But we have all this experience. So if you're not necessarily a telco junkie, well, by all means, lean on us. Let us be that support structure for you. Well, and again, as you reach out, we'll dig into how the licensing comes together. But really straightforward, simple is what we're aiming for. And again, we'd love to walk you through it. I did a session just yesterday. I did a 30-minute call yesterday. The gentleman was able to build the quotes on his own by the end of that. So it's nothing too invasive, nothing too complex. And that's with me talking as much as I've done for the last 56 minutes or so here. Special offer, you made it. Many of you made it to the end here, really a large majority. And again, thank you all for sticking around. In doing so, you earned yourself a special prize. This is actually a great offer that we're going to put out there. So if I start to think of the Canadian price, the solution cost itself for some of our more advanced requirements, or the solution feature set, was somewhere around $240. We are now looking at this 75% off, and this off is off of your partner price. So for many of you, that is 30 to 40% already. So if you take that 240, you take 40% off. Well, that's your starting point, and we'll take 75% off of that price for you. Again, just we really believe in this offer. We know it's brought some success to quite a few partners to date. And now we want to just kick it into another gear here. So this is an offer that's available until the 30th of April. So we have 2.5, 3 months here coming up. Slight minimum here of 5 seats, so 5 users. Pretty fair for a phone system, I'd imagine. Again, this will be for any new environments, 75% off your discounted price. So do call us on it. We would love to walk you through, to deep dive, to play with the numbers. If nothing more, it's a simple exercise. We believe we will earn the balance of your business here, but it starts with just one. Come and see what we can do. I think you'll be pleasantly impressed. For anyone who had worked with us in our voice ventures and some of our voice solutions over the years, this Managed Teams Voice has been completely revamped. In the sense that we streamlined a lot of it. It isn't just a la carte and everything is there, as some confusion. It was the trend that we had started to see. So these are often Microsoft feature sets, the very, very, very similar feature set that what Microsoft Teams offers. There's a lot less room for confusion, a lot more publicly available information in terms of the limitations. And again, we know them. We'll address them, again, very, very transparently with you. But a really big offer. Our redundancy has also been heavily invested in the last little bit. It was never really a challenge either way, but now it is just that much more reliable for what concerns the services. More information can be found, whether that be through the Microsoft Transform website or collateral page that they have. There are tons of links here in terms of a technical readiness, some certification exams, some learning paths just to help you and your team build that skill, even to understand the market and to go as far as to actually launching their practice, from building intent to deployments and everything in between. Similarly, around the Managed Teams Voice offering, do reach out. We have our product sheet and our website are available there. Reach out to your account manager or to partners at Sherweb.com. We'll get connected. If not myself, or if I'm not lucky enough there, it'll be one of my team members. But we'll reach out. We'll have that conversation. We'll dig in with you. And again, for everyone having taken the time today, we are right at time. So I'll thank you there. I will stick around if anyone did have any questions. If not, hopefully all of you have my contact in some way, shape, or form. Reach out on LinkedIn, reach out through your AMs, your account managers, your customer service team. We'll gladly dive a little bit deeper into any or all of the above here at your discretion. So again, thank you on behalf of the Sherweb team, to Akila and James and Anne-Marie and the team here for putting this on. Thank you all so much, and hope to chat with you all about this really, really soon. Thank you all. Have a really great day.